So, I mean, a lot's happened in the last few days. I will vent and rant about Hell in a Cell, but I want to talk about the whole Cain Velasquez appearance on Smackdown coming out to take out Brock Lesnar. I really want to talk about that because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on it. It was very exciting. That was a great episode of Smackdown. They actually garnered some goodwill before undoing it on Sunday. Everyone was talking about Smackdown, like everyone, and I know this because people outside of this little bubble that we exist in were talking about Smackdown and saying, did you see Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman? Did you see how Goldberg was there? Did you see that The Rock was there? Did you see Mick Foley in attendance? Why was Steve Austin not there? Did you see the whole thing with Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar? Is Cain Velasquez with the WWE now? And it's gotten so many people talking, and then people talking about the history of the two of them. Obviously, Velasquez beat Lesnar in the UFC in 2010 for the heavyweight title in a great fight, and Velasquez has obviously expressed interest in possibly transitioning out of MMA and doing some pro wrestling, and we've seen, and I've covered it on this channel, him going to AAA and doing some things there. He did a 6-man tag there and wrestled the luchador style, which is very impressive considering his frame, considering his heavyweight, considering the injuries that he's accumulated throughout his career. To see him do that style was very, very interesting, and I see someone with a lot of potential. And also add to that, it's good for wrestling when you have someone with a legit fighting background coming over. It's a credibility boost. It worked with Ronda Rousey, and I think it could work with Cain Velasquez if this goes any further. Now, a lot of people have talked about this, and a lot of people have thoughts and feelings on this. Some people are going around saying, oh, well, why would they even have this match in the first place? Two real fighters having a fake fight. And one of the unique things about the way I view wrestling is I can see into the future, which sounds really arrogant, but my point that I'm making is wrestling has always done this. They always look for special attractions. They always look for those added shots in the arm for big events that help make the event feel bigger and better and give a paying audience more than they expected. Then again, we can't really say that after Hell in a Cell, but that's a whole other topic for another time. Now, the thing is, the idea, given their history, I've laid the table, right? Given their history, given their UFC history, given that Brock is this big bad monster. Yeah, I didn't like the way he beat Kofi Kingston, but we can talk about that later. He's this big bad monster that's very protected, and he should be, because he's an attraction. Having him in there with the man that beat him for real for the UFC title, it's almost too good to be at Saudi Arabia. And that's the thing that frustrates me. They're going to do this show in Saudi Arabia. They're going to do this show for the Saudi Arabia shows on the network. And that really frustrates me because I feel like the Saudi Arabian, that whole deal, we can talk about that some other time, but they just get everything. It's just like when you see those spoiled kids in your area. Mummy, I want a new car. Okay, son, here's a new car. Mummy, I want an expensive holiday. Okay, son, well, here's the expensive holiday. It's how it feels like watching the whole Saudi Arabia WWE relationship. They're getting all these things for their shows. And it's just like, it is ridiculous. So why did they get what I feel is a Wrestle-mania worthy match in Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez? I feel that should be saved for Wrestle-mania. Look, we're always saying, well, I don't know what big matches are going to happen for Wrestle-mania. I really don't. They need something. And something like this should be saved for Wrestle-mania. That's my opinion. That's my thought process, based purely on the mainstream media attention that they could get on that, and that now Smackdown is on Fox Sports, and the history that Fox had with the UFC in particular, that Cain Velasquez fought on one of the first Fox UFC shows and drew that massive number with Junior Dos Santos. Based all on that alone, that should be a WrestleMania main event, in my opinion. And it's just very frustrating that how many special attractions are we going to get where it's Triple H, Undertaker, Dave Bautista, and of no disrespect to all three men, let's have something a little bit different nowadays. And seeing Cain Velasquez, who for 2 matches looked pretty decent and has the credibility of being a UFC heavyweight champion, that should be a WrestleMania main event. It's too good to be on there. Now, it sounds like it's going to be at Saudi Arabia, But I've just read recently, and I was just looking on my phone with Janine, it says here that actually he's going to have knee surgery, and that may halt the Saudi Arabia plans, and I hope to God that's what happens. In a way, the same thing with Becky Lynch last year and Ronda Rousey. Yeah, that was a big match. That was going to happen at Survivor Series, but it was even bigger when you did it at WrestleMania. Was ended up being a triple threat match, but the point is that match should have been at WrestleMania based on how hot Becky Lynch was at that time. And I feel like this is the same thing in the fact that I think they should do Velasquez and Lesnar at WrestleMania and hold it off till then. Now here's some interesting facts that people may not know. From what I've been told very reliably, and Dave Meltzer will confirm this for you, Cain Velasquez is out of the USADA testing pool. So take that for what it's worth. He is out of the USADA testing pool. That's one thing. Number two, apparently he hasn't actually signed a contract with WWE, so he's still talking to them. That's another thing. Another thing I want to add to that is also one of the reasons why WWE would do this and bring Velasquez in, because people are questioning why, which really boggles my mind here, is because the whole wrestling landscape's very, very different now. And I tell you right now, if you thought the last couple of months were interesting with all these acquisitions and extensions and renewals with All Elite coming into, play, it's going to get even more interesting now. I'm going to tell you that right now. The free agency market is going to get very interesting. And the fact that All Elite Wrestling were definitely talking to Cain Velasquez very recently, might I add, is one of the many reasons why they did. Because imagine, AEW is the shiny new toy, the hot new product, the cool product, the young product, the fresh product, doing things and daring to be different. A lot of fan support has been geared towards them. Now you sign Cain Velasquez, and again, AEW wants a more sports-orientated feel. You sign that guy in, and you need a heavyweight. I mean, it's off to the races even more so with everything that they've got going. So that's another reason why they did it, because they don't want All Elite getting that, because that could make them a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. So that's another reason why they did that. So that's why they signed them. So with all these coming things being said, I just feel like this is something that should be done at WrestleMania. That's just my opinion. And then furthermore, I'd love to see him in there with Samoa Joe. I'd love to see him in there with Strowman. We will never see him in that angle, unfortunately. But I would love to see him in there with Shinsuke Nakamura if he can be bothered. I'd love to see him in there with all of those guys. And yes, I also believe that Daniel Cormier is on his way there too, because I've heard that they've offered him a commentating job. But that's my point. A match like that should not just be for Saudi Arabia, it should be for WrestleMania. Now, one way around it is they do the match at Saudi Arabia to set up the WrestleMania rematch. Now, if they do that, I could kind of get behind that. But if it's only just for Saudi Arabia, because they'll pay them 15 million or whatever oil money they've got, it's kind of disappointing. But I feel like do it at WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania worthy. Anyways, I'm going to stop right there. You let me know what you think about all of this. Do you feel like this is a match that's too big to be on the Saudi Arabia network specials? Do you feel like this should be at WrestleMania? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel. And I'll be back very, 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 very soon. Comment, like, subscribe. Bye.